The economics of a call center. This you need to understand so you at least understand what the other side is. If you're working in a call center, a lot of times you'll be wondering, what on earth is management thinking? What are they doing? Why is it being run like this? This is just frustrating. But if you understand what they have to deal with and the pressures they are, you can at least understand. May not necessarily make it, all better, but you can at least appreciate the stresses they're under, and you can at least try to find common ground to work with. If you don't acknowledge what the other side has to deal with, you're never going to be able to come to any kind of understanding or agreement. So, by economics of a call center, I'm not referring to so much to the stats and statistics, but just behind the scenes, back end stuff that they may have to deal with. Understand that there's many different types and categories. Again, as with my other one, a lot of generalities. But if the call center is a subcontracted, if it's a company that runs a call center for another company, this could be for billing, any number of things, tech support, the list goes on. A lot of cell companies, tech support, all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to name any names because I know too much. I know a lot of things that a lot of companies don't really want out. Not that it'd be like a problem, just for public relations standpoint, or just simplify things. They'd rather not out. Anyway, if it's a subcontracted call center, they're paid per call. Now that can take two main ways. Either resolved issues or actual calls. Now, if it's actual call, and the specific numbers are always classified, closed door meetings, not something let out, and there's several reasons for that, and I'll come to that in a minute. But if the call center is paid per actual call, and just making numbers up, let's suppose $10 a call. Now, if a technician answers a call, resolves the issue, and gets off that call, and his average time is 15 minutes, that means he's making the company $40 an hour. Well, if they're paying him, again, just making numbers up, throwing things out there, but let's suppose they're paying him $15 an hour. That means per profit, of course this is not actual net, but he's making $25 an hour for the company. However, factoring in his insurance, taxes, back end stuff, as well as the rent, maintenance on the facility, pay for management and stuff that are not actually on calls, but are running and helping to keep everything going. It's actually pretty narrow amount of money that they make. That's why they're always trying to get you to reduce your handle time, because if that same technician was able to reduce his handle time to 10 minutes a call, all of a sudden his profit goes from $40 an hour to $60. That is one of the things that they're having to deal with. You have 35 people on phones taking average of 10 minutes a call. You're getting all this revenue. But when you factor in rent, utilities, etc., taxes, it can be a little strict. And again, those are made up numbers. I do not know what those actual are. If the call center is in-house, it's owned by the company, they're sitting up there tabulating what it costs them to run that call center. And therefore, they know they're paying each person whatever it is, and they're doing whatever it is, and they're taking X volume of calls, and they're trying to... Tech support's expensive, and it does not make the company money. It's a service that they offer to allow them to make money. For example, if you're tech support for a laptop company, they make money by selling the laptops. Customers calling up because they're having a problem with said laptop and they're having difficulty with a setting or configuration, that costs them money to have somebody walk them through how to configure the power options. And back in the 90s, everyone was doing tech support, all this different stuff. Everyone was offering all these things. And then as the 90s drew to a close, I'm trying to remember exactly when that happened. I think it was in the late 90s. Pretty much everyone stopped. It was hard to find tech support. There were all these third parties started popping up that you can call up and pay them per call or whatever it is to get your issue resolved. Now, the other way per resolved issue is, I'm not sure how common it is. I've not seen a lot of it, but I know there have been some that were like this, where you call in with a problem. They create a ticket, and with that, they resolve your issue. If you call back, it comes back. You call in with that ticket information. This is tied to that problem. So they are billing whoever it is based on that resolved ticket. How many tickets have we resolved? Likewise, if you're calling in with several problems, and you'll have situations where, okay, that is actually tied to a printer problem. That's not something I can help you with, but let me transfer to somebody who can. A lot of the times it actually will transfer out and back into the exact same department, but they had to document it as a separate call for billing purposes. And I actually do know people who have transferred calls like that to their own department, and they'd be sweating bullets praying they didn't get that same call because they just told the honest likelihood it would be nearly impossible to happen. As far as I know, it never has, but it's been possible. And I actually know somebody who answered a call, and he mistakenly said another company he used to work for. He did the intro for them, and before he could catch himself and correct it, the person hung up. They then called again, and he got that same person, only answered the phone correctly. He said, oh, I just dialed the same number. Oh, well, never know. Maybe enough confusion in the phone system or something. They just take it and handle it anyway. But yeah, that did happen. But the whole dynamics of that is they just have to document different calls for billing and charging the different companies that they're doing this for. So that's that side as to why something works. Now understand on the back end, they have agreements with these different companies, and that might be providing a certain service level. We will have X number of technicians answering calls. We will be able to handle X number of calls a day. We will be able to provide service to X number of things. Sometimes even utilities will have agreements with the cities that they work in, where they will answer X number of calls within X amount of time. So, again, just making numbers up, but suppose an electric utility makes an agreement, as per some other things, that 70% of their calls will be answered within 2 minutes. So they need to have enough people on that phone in order to answer the calls in a timely manner. If they made an agreement with a company to answer their phones for tech support, they may very well have an agreement where we will answer X number of calls within X period of time. They know all the X's make it a very mysterious thing. It's all these variables we don't know. It's just the dynamics of the situation. They never release that information. And they wouldn't want the average person to know, wow, man, I answered the call. I do like 20 calls an hour, and you're making X amount of money off that, and I'm only getting, well, yes, because they have all these other overhead costs and everything. You want to talk electricity costs for these companies? Let me tell you something. It's not hard when you're talking a corporate electric bill to hit $100,000. It gets nuts. So, yeah, they don't want those numbers out because it would just complicate things. But with that, you can at least understand why, if something comes up that you're calling out with a family emergency or something going on, and you're like, so you're going to come in late today? No, man, I'm not coming in at all. So you're not coming in at all today? No, I'm out today. So you'll be in tomorrow. As frustrating as some of those situations are, you can at least appreciate based on that, what they're going through. They're sitting there trying to think, oh my goodness, we have these 3 other people out, plus that. Oh my goodness, how are we going to meet our demands because this person's out on vacation and that and this. You know, it can get quite maddening quite quick. I know, well, I could share stories. You'll have situations where outages, where one call center might be out, and all the workload is offset onto another call center. I've actually seen that happen twice with 2 different places where I worked on the phones. The one had a second facility in another part of the country, and there was a major storm front and everything, and basically everything was shut down. So we got all call traffic, and it was maddening. And they're here like, so want to do overtime? You know, if you're like, after an 8-hour shift of this, you know, yeah, you wouldn't mind doing another 4 hours, right? You know, and it's just pressures and demand of the job. So just some things to keep in mind as far as how things work on the other end, and you can at least appreciate, hopefully now you'll at least understand and be able to appreciate some of what management stresses and problems that they face. Well, have fun. Actually, if I'm going to make a series of call center videos, maybe I should come up with some kind of call center related ending, like, hold please.
Where is he?
Right in front of you.